Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Las Vegas Market and Atlanta Market programming for our summer 2020. Today we have Mary Moore from the Cook's Warehouse, and she's going to be showing us different products and trends for entertaining from the Houseware and Gourmet division at both markets. And so if you want to join in at any point, feel free to later. This is being recorded and will also be live on Facebook and on our websites. So Mary, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate it. It's great to be here with you all today. Happy to be showing off some of the things that have been selling incredibly well for us during this super crazy time. I hope you all are doing well and doing well in your businesses and certainly personally at home with your families and everybody staying safe. I think this is the 104th or 105th day of COVID, right? From we sort of count from May 16th, and I can safely say I wouldn't think that my business would have changed as much as it has in the last 104 or 5 days that it did in the first 26 almost. We're in our 26th year. So anyway, I'm delighted to share some fun ideas with you and some of the things that have been successful for us during this time, and things that maybe if you're not already selling, you can focus on selling because they're moving really fast. Without further ado, and this is definitely conversational, they're going to keep track of the chat. So if you all have questions or have suggestions even, please feel free to weigh in. So this isn't a one-way conversation. Let's talk about just a little bit about business to begin with. We definitely in March, and I'm sure you did too, and then into April, we saw a major dip in our business in the stores when everyone was staying home and sequestering. And we quickly realized how we needed to, of course, we weren't doing cooking classes, we're gourmet stores and cooking schools. We figured out how to do virtual classes. We didn't begin those until probably May, but those have been very successful for us. So if you haven't given that a shot, I would highly recommend it. It's worked out really well. And in fact, we've been able to parlay our private event business into the virtual world. So we're now doing private event clients and classes that are virtual. We saw the big dip in April, but then sales really started to return, and it was one of those crazy J curves. So it just went straight down, but it's gone really back up since then, and which is a blessing, right? You figure out how to make things work, how to tighten up on your expenses and still continue to sell. And we never did close down 100%. I know some people had to do that depending on where you were. But our team has really figured out how to be in business very safely. We require masks. If anyone enters the store, it's really not an option. We sanitize continually and we maintain social distance, and we try to do things as touchless as possible. One thing in the very beginning that we also did was curbside service. And a lot of people took advantage of that in April and then into early May. More people are comfortable coming in now, I think, because we've all caught up with the safety protocols and we understand how to do business differently in today's environment, but we still utilize the curbside service. We also developed a partnership with Roadie. They're all over the country, so it's another option and a way to extend your business even further out. So in locations where we previously had stores, like outside the perimeter, we had a store. It's a way to recapture some of that market and recapture some of that audience. And I mean, frankly, we wouldn't have been thinking about that if we weren't in this particular time. So I always say that in the midst of chaos comes opportunity. I think that's what we have to look for. You know, where's our North Star, and what are we going to do differently so we can win in different times. So just a few updates for us and sort of how things have been for our business. We also are selling online, and online has been extremely strong. So if you're not in that arena yet, I would highly recommend it. And there's some easy ways to get started that I'm sure you can explore. And there's some great resources for that too. So without further ado, we're talking a little bit about entertaining. So we've had a few people over to our house periodically, and we've entertained in the backyard. I think most people today are entertaining outside. We've been over to other people's homes as well. And I've seen different iterations of what people are doing. So from being served family style where everybody was wearing gloves and being very conscientious about sharing utensils. I'm sort of leaning towards the less touching is more, right? And so if you can have more smaller dishes and more spreaders and more serving things, then it's actually easier. And I think for me, it's been a little more comfortable to entertain with that scenario instead of having to worry about passing things around. So the other thing, and so let's just talk about a few of those things first. Pacific Merchants has some beautiful acacia wood. I'm featuring these down front. These little bowls are great for just appetizers or hors d'oeuvres. If you're serving even nuts, for example, you can do individual servings if you're using the Turkish little pinch bowls. And so you can just have it where on a big tray, you've got a preset serving for everyone for appetizers instead of everyone going to the same tray or using the same dishes. There are fun little tongs. I love these ones from Progressive with the little hands. So you can put a little fun into your entertaining. Or we've got, if you want to be a little more sophisticated, the stainless steel version. And you can see it has a little pincher. And so everybody can have these at their setting. Things like bamboo, bamboo skewers and little bamboo party picks are easy to use to facilitate that kind of not having to share utensils, which I think is important to people. And then we also have some beautiful, if you're going a little more upscale, from Fortessa. They have a beautiful array of smaller dishes in all kinds of serving sizes and shapes. So those are really nice as well. I love the butter dome. I mean, I use this at home anyway, but this is definitely easily a single or shareable between two people instead of passing it around the table. If you want to think about that for butter. And then of course, hand sanitizers. We got these through Cork Pops early on, and it's a great hand sanitizer, and it's the perfect size to put at everybody's place setting. And it's also a nice little takeaway for them. So you've given them a gift as they've come to your house, and they can use it while you are having your party, and then they can also just take it home with them to have for later also. Napkins, right? People might not feel comfortable with cloth napkins, although you can certainly utilize cloth napkins. Everybody has their own, and they're washable. So if you're going to, again, more sophisticated, go with the cloth. But if not, there are a variety of companies that have some really fun and whimsical paper napkins. These are from PPD. And this one I love. Does running out of wine count as cardio? I think maybe. And then this one, this is a really good one for today, right? Reality called, I hung up. So put a little fun on your table, let everybody have a great time. You can go more traditional with the welcoming and hospitality pineapple, but just a great assortment of different fun and whimsy as you're entertaining. So glassware, what do you do? We have wine, wine charms, wine markers. You could certainly go that route. What's been really popular for us are the wine glass markers. So you can actually write on your wine glass with these. You can see that this one is mine, sadly empty, but it's only for a little bit after 4 or 1 if you're out in Vegas, right? And then here's one for Betty. And everybody can put their name on their glass right when they come in. And so you never lose it, and you never have to worry about a wine marker falling off or forgetting which one was yours. You can write on any kind of glassware with these, and it comes off very easily. So good for any time, right? Another option too is if you are outdoors, and in the summertime now, especially in Georgia, it's very hot and humid. I know in Vegas it is as well, depending on what part of the country you're in. You can go with something like Corkscrews or Yeti. So it'd be fun to have a variety of colors anyway at your home. And depending on how large your gathering is, if it's up to 10, you might want to do something different, like with the glassware. If you're having another couple over, or if it's 4 or 6 or even 8 people, then having a variety of colors would give you the opportunity that everyone can have their own color. So they've got an insulated champagne. If you're not selling Corkscrews in your store and you're a gourmet store, I would say go ahead and write the order now before the shows start. And if you're a gift store too, this is a really great item, great brand, and they sell super well. So there's Corkscrews champagne. They also have more like a tumbler style. You can certainly use this for anything. It's hot and cold. It's got a nice lid with a easy closure, and it stays cold for, these are cold for 9 hours and hot for 3 for the smaller ones. And then the larger ones, of course, it's 24 hours and 12 hours, I believe. But that's a long time, right? Your cocktail isn't going to last 3 hours probably, or whatever your guests are drinking. So that's a good option. And then there's also the stemless wine version. So we've got these in all sorts of shapes and sizes, not sizes, but styles. So everybody, again, can have their own. And if you want to go a little more rough and tumble, then there's always the Yeti. And these are great for anything, coffee in the morning, beverages outside. All really big sellers for us. Another trend that has been really crazy during this period of time, and I'm sure you're aware of this, is bread baking. Everybody wants to make sourdough, everybody wants to make bread. And so we've really actually struggled with keeping yeast in stock and bread flour. But I mean, hundreds and hundreds of bags of yeast have we sold during this period of time, and also flour. So if you're not thinking along those lines and haven't been carrying some of that assortment, I would highly recommend it. All the accoutrement for pizza, the pizza stones, it's always great to use a pizza stone. It's and you want to use a natural stone. So you put it in your oven or on the grill and let it heat up so that there's no thermal shock issues. Let it heat up with the grill and let it cool down with it. And it really makes beautiful crispy crust on the bottom. Now, if you really are wanting to get into pizza, and your customers do too, I'm going to have Pam pan over this way for a second. We now have the Breville Pizzeola pizza oven. This thing is amazing. It will go to 932 degrees and it will make a pizza in 60 seconds. So beautiful thin crust Italian pizzas with where the crust just bubbles up and the cheese is perfect. This oven will do it, and they have been retailing quite well for us. So if you are a store that carries electrics, kitchen electrics, it's something that you might want to think about adding to your assortment for sure. And then, of course, if you are selling grills or grilling gear, those have been extremely popular for us. One hiccup during this time, of course, is supply chain issues. And you might already be seeing some of this. So ordering early and ordering often and placing future orders is really important during this time. Keeping a close, tight relationship, continuing that with your sales reps and your manufacturers to understand what their inventory levels are and what they have available is just, I would say it's really critical, especially going through the end of the year, because a lot of them shut down earlier. And what we are seeing is that it's difficult to get some things. And as I started talking about grilling, we're definitely seeing that in that area. We carry Kamado Joe, which is a fantastic grill, but they're struggling a little bit to keep up with demand because everybody's home and everybody's grilling. So they didn't expect it. Good windfall for them and good for us too, but now we're struggling a little bit with supply. Which also brings us to charcoal. Having those recurring, and if you want to move back over here a little bit, Pam, we'll go back this way. Having those recurring resellable items, food items like the yeast, like the flour, like the charcoal, those things that bring people in often and over again so that you have the opportunity to add on sales is a really important part of the business. We discovered a new charcoal. It was not really new, but if you haven't seen this one, Jealous Devil. This is a great charcoal. I love it personally. I grill a lot at home. And I also love the bag because it's actually a resealable bag. It doesn't have that string. Do y'all know that string where there's a certain way you're supposed to be able to open it and you just pull it and the whole thing unravels? I don't think I've been able to do that once. I'm waiting. I'm sure there's a YouTube video. I need to go watch it because I'm always at the string fail with that string. But this it's like a Ziploc, zip top bag. And so I really like that. It's also single sourced 100% hard lump charcoal. And so it burns really hot and well, and it's got some nice big chunks, but it has some smaller chunks too. So depending on what you're doing, you have that variety, and it's got a great flavor. So anything that goes along with grilling gear. We did hear some news this week, and if you all have been selling Charcoal Companion grilling products, we just found out yesterday that Charcoal Companion is actually not going to be continuing their business, and I think it's as of August 14th. So 35-year-old business, that is a big blow to our industry, and they've been a tried and true steady resource for us. So we're looking at Outset and some of the different grilling gear purveyors, Rosla, and some of those different companies, so that we can start to replace what we've normally carried with Charcoal Companion. So, you know, it's unpredictable, I guess, a little bit. We all have gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is part of what today's measure is. And we just have to, as the news comes in and as things change, we adapt, right? And we figure things out. So back to the entertaining piece a little bit. Individual salt and peppers. So here's another idea for setting your table, whether you're inside or outside. If you think about all the touch points that people have with you know, things on the table, right? We're trying to avoid people passing things around, because for me, I just prefer to be able to have dinner and not have to wear gloves and have that, or even change gloves while you're at the table. So I tend to lean towards all the single serve ideas, or single use. And even if you have couples over, couples could share too. So here's a nice peppermill option that is both salt and pepper. This one's from Trudeau. And so this is kind of casual, great for outdoor entertaining, or if you want a little more color, Peugeot has some really nice colorful ones, and they can just be individual at each place setting, or per every 2 people if you want to go that way. So we talked about pizza and bread. So the sourdough bread, the whole bread baking craze. Bannetons have also been super popular because of the bread baking craze. We purchased these from Freeling, and Freeling is back in stock and well stocked on them. So I would highly recommend bringing those into your assortment if you haven't yet. And think about all those things that go along with bread. So I'll just pause for a second, because I'm wondering if anybody at this point has any questions, or there's anything I can answer, or maybe I went over something a little too quickly. We'll get back into some top sellers in a minute, but just checking in to see if we have any questions lined up.
Mary, I don't see any as of right now,
Okay.
but we do welcome all questions. You can click the Q&A button and we'll get them to Mary.
All right, very good. I had my buyer print off one of our top, because I can't, you know, memorize everything off the top of my head, the top 500 list just for this period of time, right? So that the period of COVID, what has been selling incredibly well. And I've gone over quite a few of them so far. One I didn't touch on yet was the Sodastream. Not sure if you all are already carrying this, but the cartridge refills. So we do sell Sodastream machines, and we have a variety of those. And we sell some of the flavors as well, but it's the cartridge, back to what are the things that bring people into your store over and over again? The refills. So the cartridge is like, you know, the CO2, people use it, it lasts maybe about 30 days, depending on how much soda they drink, how much sparkling water, and then they have to bring it back and exchange it. So we have gone through more exchanges. That business is really off the charts for us during this time as people are staying home more. The Euro Scrubby, of course, this has just been a #1 seller anyway, but if you haven't purchased the Scoy or the Euro Scrubby, either one, they are a great product, and it's safe for non-stick, safe to clean all of your pots and pans. I have one of these just for my paella pan. It's really easy to clean because I love to make paella. That's a really good entertaining one, by the way, thing to do outside. Euro Scrubby is a great seller. And we've talked about the charcoal. We also offer a knife sharpening service here. if you don't, so we've had someone that serviced the business for the first, gosh, 22 years probably. And then a couple of years ago, Robert, who's been on our team for over 10 years, decided that he wanted to take over the knife sharpening business. And he actually purchased a whole grinding system through Mike, a gentleman out on the West Coast. I believe he's in Portland. Actually, he's in San Francisco because Robert went to San Francisco to train. But so we brought that business actually in-house, and it has been wildly successful. But before that, even before that, we did knife sharpening with another company that provided the service for us. So people come in, they drop off their knives, and a couple of days later, they pick them up sharpened. So the knife sharpener comes 1 day a week, and we let everybody know what day that is. So they come into the store twice. It's 2 different touch points. It's also a great opportunity to sell new or additional knives. I mean, sometimes people bring in the, the serrated sharp forever edge that maybe they got as a going to college gift or for whatever occasion, but those actually can't be sharpened by the naming of them. They theoretically shouldn't need to be sharpened, but they do at some point. They're definitely not as sharp as a really incredible fully forged steel Japanese or German knife. So sometimes we're able to take a look at what people have and suggest they might have a lot more fun in the kitchen or be a lot happier or enjoy cooking more if they had a little bit of an upgrade in what they're using to cut. So it's another good way to generate more business. From knife sharpenings, we've talked about the cooking school. We've done really well with Yeti throughout this whole time. I think people are, and Corkscrews and things like that, because everybody wants to have their own vessel for their beverages. So, it's not really, people don't want to pass things around or even take something from someone else's hand even perhaps. So you want to be able to refill your water container or refill your coffee mug and just have your own, not to mention the fact that it's environmentally friendly and a great way to go. I mean, the Sodastream alone, one of the things that they tout is that the average family of 4 fills up an entire 40-yard container, garbage container, like a 40-yard container, right? Shipping container of cans and aluminum from just sodas in a year. So a family of 4 in a year can fill up an entire 40-yard container, and the Sodastream keeps all of that potentially out of the landfill and certainly out of the recycling sort of world. So anyway, it's a great story to tell when you're selling those. Looking down the list here. Butcher, yes, ma'am.
Mary, I was going to say, we do have a couple questions. What is your number 1 seller? Like, what is your best seller?
Number 1 over everything? Straight edge knife sharpening, just in number of units. So if you're talking about number of units, so back to our knife sharpening service, that's the number 1. And then number 2 in terms of number of units are the Sodastream canisters, the refill canisters. And then the 3rd is charcoal.
Okay.
And that's in volume of sales, right? Number of units of sales.
That's wonderful.
And then the Euro Scrubby.
Ooh, very fun. Why do you use acacia rather than bamboo?
Oh, you could use either one. The question was why acacia instead of bamboo. I'm not sure if everybody's hearing the questions, but I love the way acacia looks. I mean, I like bamboo as well. Both are completely fine. The acacia wood I find comes in more styles, more serving styles, like with the bowls and the, like the little boat. It's just a nice, different shape. But certainly bamboo is fine. Or any other wood for that matter. Or if you want to go porcelain or the ceramic with the Turkish pottery.
Are there any other wine gift accessories that you would recommend?
Wine gift
accessories, yes.
Yes, so we've been really successful with Coravan. I don't know if you all brought in the Coravan, but that is a wine preservation system. So someone can, it's a higher price point gift, but someone can open a bottle of wine by putting the needle down through the cork, and then they can just extract wine a glass at a time or an ounce at a time, and preserve the rest of the bottle. So for those who don't finish a bottle, or those perhaps who want to taste a vertical or have some different options during a dinner party, that's a great way to go. And then we've done really, I mean, for wine, I would say it's more cocktail these days, all the cocktail picks. We've been very successful with the bitters, the cherries that go with the, you know, like with an old fashioned. We've carried a lot of different, all of the ice, like the 2-inch ice molds, and the crushed ice molds have also been extremely popular. Always with the corkscrews, I mean, you've got to have a really good corkscrew. You know, the really fat ones that are hard to turn, and the old waiter styles. It's amazing. Even for $10 or $14 or $15, you can get one that's really easy to use. So we do sell a lot of the corkscrews as well. And we've been selling a lot of wine glasses. We carry both Riedel and ShopZio. I really love the glassware and the shapes. Personally, at home, I use the ShopZio. It's very dishwasher friendly. So also, if you're entertaining and you don't want to have to hand wash everybody's glass, you can just throw them in the dishwasher, and really easy to clean. Yeah.
Those are all the questions that we have currently. So
okay.
I'll let you
Let me look down the list here and say, oh, I don't think did I mention the pink butcher paper for the grilling? So we started carrying the pink butcher paper. I guess one of the cooking shows, someone was showing how to do the perfect brisket, and you have to use pink butcher paper for the perfect brisket, and it has sold really well for us to go along with our all of our charcoal gear. And then a lot of the smaller, as I've been talking about and through this for entertaining, 4-ounce souffles and 8-ounce, you know, little bowls. All the pinch bowls have been doing really well for us during this time. And I don't have it out here because I forgot to grab it, but duck fat. If you haven't started carrying the duck fat, that it is a fantastic seller. So we've got the Rouge duck fat that comes in the glass jar, and it's just perfectly clear and delicious and awesome to use. And then we also brought in, after the last market in January at America's Mart, we brought in the duck fat that's in the can, so you can actually spray it. So for people who don't want to use too much, or they don't want to fiddle with the jar, for people that like to use a misto or to spray their olive oil so they don't utilize too much of it, or just for the convenience, now you can get the true duck fat in a can that actually sprays out, and it's fantastic. So imagine putting some tater tots or some sweet potato fries in the air fryer, and then pull them out and just spray them with the duck fat, or spray them with a little duck fat and then fry them and top them off with a little more. Great for popcorn too, spraying it on popcorn, adding a little sea salt. Delicious. Can't say enough about duck fat. I need a big bowl of popcorn right now. Great, a little Parmesan cheese. Yeah.
Some are looking to add online culinary merchandise to their store. Mm-hmm. Would you have any advice for them?
What do you mean by online culinary merchandise? Do they have an online store currently, or they're just thinking about going online?
Possibly. They didn't explain. So if they do have a website, adding that on, what would you recommend that they incorporate?
Some of the top sellers that I've been talking about, but one thing I'll say, one thing you really have to watch out for online is margin, right? Things can sell really fast, but shipping can be expensive. And now they ship via dimensional weight, which not only equals the weight of the product itself, but it's also the dimensional weight of the box that it goes in. So we have a spreadsheet that we utilize to make sure that what we're selling online is actually going to be profitable at the end of the day. And you want to build a little factor in there in case somebody is dissatisfied with it, or there's a problem with the product and they want to ship it back. You definitely want to make sure you have enough margin in there that you don't wind up selling a whole lot and not making any money, or worse, losing money. So I would say things that to start. So as you're learning, things that are maybe at a $100 price point or more. Again, it depends on the margin in what you're selling, but I would start in the higher end gear, opposed to starting off with gadgets and things of that nature. Or if you're going to do the gadgets, you might want to create bundles. So you have a spatula and a whisk and a bowl or whatever. You put together a baking kit. We've actually done some kits. We did that right after all of this happened, as we realized that people were going to stay home and they were going to be cooking more at home. If you go to cookswarehouse.com, you can see some of those kits that we put together, but we've got a pizza kit and a cocktail kit and a bread baking kit and an entertaining kit. I mean, it's just all, and I just had my team, I said, okay, brainstorm, what do you love and what would you want to get in the mail? So if you bundle things together and create kits, it also drives the price up and the margin up, so it can help cover for shipping and other things like that, and you still make money. So I hope that answers your question.
I think so. And last question, going into the fall season and winter season, where retailers are shopping for, are there any specific gadgets or seasonings that you would recommend for those, since they're going to be purchasing through market and wanting those in their store?
Yeah, so I mean, we've carried Hammond's candy for a long time. If you're really talking about seasonal, the candy canes, generally we have to buy those in February. So I would contact them and see if they still have an assortment available for the holidays. But some of the, like the Silly Cow, chocolate milk, and the mulling spices. There's some beautiful caramels that were out that we have. Pam, what's that? The packaging, the pillow packaging, the caramels that were the vanilla, the marshmallow. Do you remember the name of that company? Yes, please. We're going to find out the name of that company. But those have been selling really well too. And it's a nice gift, right? It's something that's easy to take as a hostess gift or to give to people. It's something to enjoy during the holidays. But think of those savories and candies and spices that refer to the fall, like the allspices and the cinnamons and the mulling spices. Along the line of spices, we've done very well with Salt Sisters. Charmaine Skillen has a great business, and she uses all non-irradiated spices. It's very clean, and she has a lot of different blends that are really delicious. My favorite, the steakhouse seasoning, we use that on meat all the time. I love the mojo seasoning. I like to use that on seafood. There's one called Tuscan Farmhouse that's a beautiful blend of herbs, of oreganos and thyme and natural salts, and it's great for sprinkling on vegetables and doing oven roasted vegetables. So a lot of those are really good for the holidays too, and it's a nice complement and add-on to other purchases. If they're buying cookware or gadgets, hey, try one of these spices. The back to the outdoor section, also the grilling, we sell tons of rubs, like grilling rubs, all different varieties. Got the caramels, what McRae's is the company that has the caramels and the beautiful pillow packs. But tons of outdoor like rubs and sauces and barbecue sauces. We tend to focus on local. I think that gives us an advantage. So, we start to compete a little bit with grocery in that when you get into that arena. But if you feature local businesses and local entrepreneurs, they actually come into the stores and they'll do demos and, be in here on a Saturday from 11 to 2 or 3 and serve pulled pork with their sauce, and you sell a ton of sauce when you're sampling. It's just like when we go to market. Everything disappeared for a second. Are y'all still out there? Am I still on?
You're good.
Yeah.
You're still
okay,
going.
Good. When we go to market, when we go to America's Mart or in Atlanta, or we go to Vegas, we try things, right? You try all these the gourmet section, you try the foods, and that's what sells you on it. It's the same thing in your store. You want to be able to sample things and sample those foods so that people can fall in love with it the same way that you did when you were at market, and that's what made you want to bring it in. So I would say sample often, but also be mindful of the cost of the samples versus how many units you're selling. So certainly make sure that you're focused on higher traffic days when you're going to be doing something like a pulled pork or a pizza or something like that.
If a store sells primarily gifts, what are some good gadgets that they might be able to incorporate?
So definitely the corksicle, that's not really a gadget, but corksicle. And then I would say silicone. Silicone's very popular. Tovolo for us is extremely popular. Wooden handles, beautiful colors, funny different, you know, designs and shapes. They have seasonal ones too for Halloween with a sugar skull on it, or for the holidays. Probably our best moving line of gadgets like that, or silicone, is Tovolo. Yeah. Stuff that's fun and whimsical, right? More gifty, because you can give it as a gift or you have it for yourself. And they're also great kitchen tools.
Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have right now. I want to thank you again for participating with Las Vegas Market and Atlanta Market to really give us an in-depth view of what we can use to entertain and what the new trends are.
Happy to do it. And I'll say that I'm super excited to go to market next week. I can't wait to see some people and be face to face. I have been down in the building, and I will say for everybody who's listening and maybe wondering that it feels very safe. They're taking everybody's temperature, everybody's wearing a mask, and there's plenty of social distancing opportunity. So I'm just excited to be going, and I'm looking forward to it. And I appreciate the opportunity to be with you all today and to share some culinary fun.
Well, thank you, Mary, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope that you can join us on site at either market, and if not, please visit our websites, AtlantaMarketAmericasMart.com and LasVegasMarket.com. And have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.